Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher.
Wait, what? Wait a second, what? Insulting someone is a crime? Are these three gerbil-looking bastards for real? And now this is Germany, of course. This isn't taking place in America. And again, you know, you got to do what you got to do in your own countries. I'm just curious what German people feel about this, and to a greater extent what Europeans feel about this as this type of thing starts to take place. But for me, this is the red line. Now, fortunately, in America, we have that little thing called the First Amendment, and there are plenty of people in this country who, well, there are people like these three pussies here. There are plenty of people in this country here who would rather that the First Amendment was not in the mix, but it's never going away. The process to get rid of it is just too intense, and there's not enough support for it, at least to this point. But as soon as you start passing laws where things like an insult is against the law, is actionable by the law, now comes the big question. What qualifies as an insult? When you talk about free speech, yes, there are limits. They're specific. You cannot specifically call for harm onto others. You cannot specifically call for violence against others or against an organization or even against the government. Understandable. All stuff that we know free speech has to have its limits because you don't want to live constantly on the precipice of a disaster. So that's a given. I don't think much of anybody has issue with that. As soon as you put any term that isn't very specific into it, when you just start saying, yeah, if you insult somebody, it's absolutely a crime. If you post this thing on the internet and it hurts somebody's fifis, who gives a fuck? Who cares if somebody's feelings were hurt? Get over it. Or don't get over it. Who cares? But now you're going to have to keep your opinions to yourself because somebody's feelings might be hurt. And now we're going to watch this whole clip. We'll comment on it as it goes. But let me tell you this, guys, and I got to word this very carefully so as to not have YouTube go gonzo on me. For me, if this happened in America, this right here, doesn't have to be any worse than this. If this happened in America, that to me is not a case of, okay, we're going to get protest signs, we're going to get in the streets, and we're going to see what we can do to get this changed. This is crossing the red line. This is government run amok. This is government gone way beyond their purview. And to me, then it becomes, and I mean this sincerely, it becomes an illegitimate government. And it's up to and I'm having to choose my words carefully. When you have an illegitimate government, then it's up to the people to handle that. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to get at. It's as big as it gets for me. Outside of the government coming into our homes with weapons and forcing us to make Keebler cookies and, you know, the little tree, even that might be preferable to this. It's the big issue for me. So let's see. Let's go through this whole thing. I am just stunned by it. And please, German people, and I know we've got a bunch of German people here. Let me know what you think, Europeans, because there's, you know, this is starting to encroach into a lot of areas of Europe. Let me know what you guys think about this.
To insult somebody in public.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher.
Yeah.
If you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
The internet.
Because in internet, it stays there.
You know what it is? I almost guarantee it. This fucking douche here got his underwear pulled up over his head every day in junior high, and he's lashing back out. And I mean that sincerely. I mean, okay, you could say, trying to make a joke about it, make light. No, I think that's what it is. I think we're dealing with a lot of people who felt they've been victimized. So listen, and you can say, oh, it's easy for you to say, Curtis. I was bullied. I told you guys the stories of me being bullied, and I had to it sucked, and I had to take matters into my own hands. But I don't want the government passing laws. I don't want them putting people, you know, outside of if you were actually physically attacked. But if somebody calls me a name in school, you might get a timeout for that. You might get an after school, some detention. But I don't want people arrested for it. And here's the issue with something like this, and we will continue. I promise. It's freaking me out. Who determines? As I said, who determines what is an insult? Just like talking about hate speech. Hate speech is illegal. No, it's not, nor should it be. Speech that expressly calls for violence against someone else, calls for hurting someone else, that's entirely different. That's already illegal, and it should be. I mean, I think all reasonable people can agree on that. But that's specific. As soon as you get into terms that are more vague, like an insult or hate speech, the ruling party is going to be the one who defines those. So if you had this rule in America, let's use current times. You had this rule in America about insults, and right now you have a Republican president, the Republican Congress, everything. Okay, so everything is being run by Republicans. So say you were to say something like Donald Trump is a fat orange melon ball and he's an absolute piece of shit. Cops are going to show up at your door. They're going to be like, you threw out an insult, and it's on the internet. It's going to stay there forever. It's going to hurt somebody's fifis for who knows how long, and they're going to take action. Now, under this administration, you would assume same thing happens, and somebody says Joe Biden is an absolute vegetable. He sits in the corner and drools all day. His presidency was the worst on record, and he is garbage. Now it's going to be, well, that wasn't nice, but did it rise to the level of being something we need to take action against? That's exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to flip-flop. Had Kamala won, it'd be just the opposite. Take both those situations and reverse them. That's why you can't have that type of vague law. If you're going to have rules, laws against certain types of speech, it has to be very
Talking
specific.
face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay.
So what?
But if you in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
That sticks around forever.
yeah.
So fucking
prosecutors-
what? So wait a second. All right, let's take that a step further. If you're having a face-to-face, tell me, how many of you have ever had a face-to-face with someone and had something insulting and hurtful said to you to the point where it stayed with you forever? I think pretty much everybody has. So how is that different? He's full of shit. Of course that stays with you as an individual. It's just as long as other people can't get in on it, then it's okay. But he did, well, in fairness to him, the little bitch did say that that's still against the law too. But putting it online is super against the law. This is politicians trying to protect themselves from criticism. And as I said, pussies lashing out.
Plain German law also prohibits the spread of malicious gossip, violent threats, and fake quotes.
If somebody posts
Fake quotes. Violent threats, of course, we talked about that. Of course, that doesn't extend into free speech. You're not allowed to threaten other people with violence. But hold on a second. Malicious gossip. Oh, and again, what is...
Quotes.
if somebody
Who gets to
posts
determine
Law
what's
also
malicious?
prohibits the spread of malicious gossip, violent threats, and fake quotes.
And fake quotes. Listen, who gives a shit if a quote... That's something else that drives me nuts, too. That's up to the individual. You know what? If you see anything online, if you're on social media, if you're on Twitter/X, and you see something and it infuriates you, or you wholeheartedly agree with it, and it seems very hyperbolic, all you have to do is click on that thread, because nothing goes unchallenged in social media. Nothing goes unchallenged online. No matter what you say, we know that. If you say the earth is round, that'll get challenged. Everything gets challenged. So if you're too lazy to take that click and start seeing responses, those responses will lead you to places where you can look up the actual factual details, and you'll know that what was said was made up. But instead, it's going to be illegal. Wow. That is government just As I sit here, that's government with their face right here, looking right over your shoulder. And people are cool with that, huh?
If somebody posts something
I
that's not true,
Can't believe this.
and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because
Holy shit. I can't tell you, and again, it's unusual for me to get this worked up about something. You guys know that. I can't tell you, I don't even live in that country, in Germany, obviously. And I fucking hate these people, despise them.
the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's
So the
shame.
reader's too fucking stupid to look it up themselves? Is that what they're saying? So they're idiot-proofing the world now? What do you mean the reader can't know? Of course the reader can know. Look it up and find out. Read, as I said, wherever you read it, read the comments coming back at it. Or if you read it in a news article, again, if you take whatever that phrase was or whatever was said and you put it into a Google search, you'll find out if it was true or not. The defenseless user is going to see it. What a bunch of fucking morons.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can
Wow.
include jail time for repeat offenders.
Is it a crime to insult
That is
somebody?
I am just stunned. I'm so anxious to see what you guys think. Maybe it's just because, again, everybody's got their, I hate to say triggers, but it's a trigger. This is mine. Free speech is like a huge, huge deal to me. I just wonder if I'm alone. This is insanity. I don't know how you Germans are putting up with this. Oh my God, I would be, I would not be somebody fun to be around if this were going on. I can't go into greater details on that, but I shouldn't have made this video now. Listen, I'm old and I'm fat, and now I got my blood pressure way up. But I will not die of a heart attack because of it, because I won't give these pussy bitches the satisfaction. And yes, in case they get to see this, any one of them, that's an insult. I don't want that to be vague in any way. I don't want to be I'm insulting you because I think you're garbage. just so you know, just so that's out there. Let me know what you guys think.